What was that, sir?
That's not human! That's not human!
What you're hearing is a real 911 call from North Carolina that went viral this week. And when I first heard this, I knew exactly what he was talking about. Later interviews with him proved that I was right.
Think if you took skin and put it on a human skull and stretched it thin.
At first, this man saw what he thought was a bloodied man on the side of the road. What happened next is one of the most terrifying crawler encounters ever caught in real time. Imagine a dark stretch of a country back road, headlights cutting through the trees, and a bloody figure on the shoulder that looked like someone who needed help. But as the caller slowed down, something big leapt right into the back of his truck. And in that moment of raw panic, well, you heard it. It's not human. This isn't a horror movie or an internet creepypasta. That was a real man in real time, terrified for his life. And we know it's not a prank because police confirmed that this happened and even gave interviews about it later. The man himself gave interviews. This is real. For those of you who've listened to my crawler series, you already know these stories stretch back decades, even centuries, long before the internet gave them a name. And I've been obsessed with them since I first went down that rabbit hole. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about at all, buckle up. Because tonight we're going to unpack this 911 call, the sheriff's account, the witness's interview, and connect it all to a chilling web of lore that proves one thing. Pale crawlers are not just stories. I'm Shelby and this is Chill Seeker. Okay, let's go. Okay, so first things first, let's listen to the full 911 call and break it down. I want you to just close your eyes if you can and listen closely. Like, just listen to what your gut is telling you about this call, even if it seems insane. I'm gonna play it for you right now.
County 911, what's the address of your emergency?
I'm driving on 210. I just crossed the Black River, and I thought I saw a guy standing on the side of the road bleeding.
Okay, where are you at, sir?
I'm on 210. I just crossed the Black River. I'm heading towards 53 East. I just passed Patriots Watch.
Okay, so you're over near Morse Creek?
Yes.
Okay. And did you saw a man standing on the side of the road? What was that, sir?
That's not human! That's not human!
Sir, are you okay, sir?
There's something in the back of my truck!
Okay, what's in the road?
No, it's not in the road, it's in my truck. In the bed.
There's something in the bed of your truck?
Yes, ma'am, I just turned on my bed light for my truck and there's something in my bed.
Okay, sir, when you say something, what do you mean?
I just knocked it off of the bed of my truck and went over my roof.
When you listen closely, the first thing that hit me isn't just what this man is saying, it's the way that he's saying it. His voice is shaking. He's trying to stay coherent for the dispatcher, but you can hear his panic rising. But there's something else too. You can also hear the heavy thump through the phone as something lands in the bed of his truck. And you can hear him dramatically revving his engine as he tries to get away from this thing. The evidence is right there, and it makes it very hard to believe that he's just like imagining things, like something was in the back of his truck. And he also sounds dead sober, like a man who is in his right mind. And just a side note, but this dispatcher is awful. I mean, why are 911 dispatchers always just so nonchalant, like they're like gaslighting you? I swear to God, it drives me insane. And you can hear the doubt in her voice. Like she almost doesn't believe. She's not even listening to what he's saying because her responses don't make sense. Like he tells her where he is and then she's like, asks him something out of left field. And it's just absolutely maddening. But anyway. This isn't a campfire story retold years later, or even a Reddit post by some anonymous person asking us to believe them that this really happened. This is a man right there in the moment, realizing that he's in danger from something that he can't even name. And that's exactly why this particular call went so viral with literally millions and millions of views, because it just like feels real on a human level. Like when you listen to it, you just like, oh my God, it gave me so many chills. And here's the thing, to me, this is not new. And I wouldn't say I'm like an expert per se, but I have done an insane amount of research into crawler lore and encounters. And this specific pattern is unmistakable. Over and over, usually at night, people describe seeing something on the side of a road that looks almost like a pale naked human at first glance. Sometimes it's bloody, sometimes it's hunched over or crouched in a ditch. Sometimes it's even bent over roadkill. And then they slow down to look at it. But what turns to look at them isn't human. And this specific story has a weird twist with the thing or person on the side of the road that we're going to get to later. But just keep in mind that crawler sightings on the side of roads, like I've read hundreds of these accounts from different states, even different decades. People who've never spoken to each other describing pretty much the exact same thing. Gaunt humanoid creatures that stalk the deserted corners of our world. And they never cease to be absolutely terrifying. So that's what makes this 911 call just a landmark moment to me, because it's not just another story that's written online. It's the same phenomenon that I've been documenting and just obsessed with for years, unfolding live with a terrified witness and a dispatcher who's super annoying. But regardless, it's the closest thing that we've had to a crawler encounter in real time. But anyway, now that you've heard the 911 call, let's jump to an interview with the sheriff from the station that responded to this call. I'm going to play the most important parts for you so you can just get a sense of his take on the situation. And this interview was done by Carolina Case Files, so they get all the credit for actually tracking down the witnesses and bringing this to light. All right, let's go.
About 11 o'clock p.m. that evening, a call came into our 911 dispatch of an individual standing on the side of the road, and it appeared to be bleeding. According to the CAD notes and the deputy reports, this thing jumped into the back of his pickup truck and began to actually beat on the top of the cab of his truck. You could actually hear something beating on the top of the truck. At some point, he was able to slam on his brakes, and the force of inertia actually threw this thing out over his hood and onto the highway, where this thing stood up in the roadway, made its way to the wood line, and disappeared in the woods. It is very hard to listen to that call, to that 911 tape, without becoming somewhat unnerved. It actually bothered me the first time that I heard it.
Okay, so my take on this interview is that the sheriff does seem to believe the man who reported this. He's not speaking about it like it's fake or a prank or that this guy was crazy and seeing things. I mean, he even admits that the call freaked him out when he heard it. And I want you to keep in mind what he says next too, because it's going to be coming into play again later.
For years, the residents and people out there in the Curry area near the battlefield have reported seeing things and hearing things that they couldn't exactly understand. The Moores Creek National Battlefield does sit well off the roadway. In the years past, we have had deputies respond to that area, different noises on the battlefield itself, things being seen on the battlefield that just couldn't be explained.
So where this incident took place is actually right next to a Civil War battlefield. And whether or not you believe in anything paranormal, this sheriff seems to believe that there is something to that. And it does actually end up playing a bigger role in this story than you might think. Things get weird. Okay, so I'm going to break down next the most compelling parts of the witness interview. And this makes it even more insane. Like, I can't even, just wait. I will note that in the interview, the witness's face is obscured because he wanted to stay anonymous, as I'm sure anyone can understand this, affecting his reputation. But anyway, he starts by explaining how he was driving up from Florida to North Carolina to visit his family. On a lonely country back road, it's pitch black, he's got his window down, and he's coming up around a curve. And then it happens.
On my right, because I caught a quick glimpse of something, and as I take a further look, it looks like there's I'd say probably a 30-something-year-old man standing in that ditch wearing what looks like an old Civil War uniform, just covered head to toe in blood. And the uniform was torn as well. That threw me off because I didn't expect to see it at like 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Well, I'm calling 911 after I see him to report that, because for all I know, it could have just been a normal guy that was injured and needed emergency help.
Okay, so I wanted to pause it here because this is another strange paranormal element to this story. We heard the deputy bring up this battlefield earlier, kind of insinuating that it might be haunted and that they get a lot of reports about it. And now, before the crawler experience, we hear that our witness saw a bloody man in what looked like a torn war uniform. Like, this sounds way more like a ghost than a crawler, so what the hell is going on? Was this man just having the most unlucky, most supernatural night ever? Like, I don't know, but I will note that this reminds me of another crawler encounter story I covered, where a group of night hikers encountered this like very strange, almost alien-like lone woman before their terrifying crawler encounter. And who knows if they're connected, but anyway, let's continue.
And well, as I was calling, everything seemed perfectly normal. Just quick phone call to 911, let them know, hey, there's a guy out here, and try to find somewhere safe to park so that way I can take them to him. Well, as you know from the 911 call, right as soon as I reported that, I already had my window up at that point. All of a sudden, I heard a massive bang on my truck, and my truck bounced down from the rear, like I was pulling a heavy trailer and I hit a pothole.
Wow.
And so I'm sitting there going, what the hell was that? Which I'm pretty sure you heard me yell, what the hell? I turned on my bed light, and I looked in my rearview mirror, and all I saw was this white, like snow white face right up against my rear windshield. Like it was looking into my truck, trying to see what it could see. It had shallow, sunken eyes. It had no nose. Just think if you took skin and put it on a human skull and stretched it thin. Couldn't see any ears, just that. And immediately, I just started screaming.
Okay, so this is our first time getting the actual full creature description, and it is absolutely horrifying and so consistent with other reports that I've seen. I don't think that this could be the bloody Civil War guy because the description is so different, and it really leaves you wondering how these two things could be related. I mean, what is going on? Anyway, next, the witness describes how he slams on his brakes to brake check this thing, trying to get it off his truck, going from 80 miles an hour down to 30 in just a few seconds, and then he sees this as it flies off.
Just a super scrawny long body just fly over my truck in a ball rolling, and as I'm swerving to the left, I see it stand up, and it is easily taller than that truck.
No way.
I'm 5'10". The truck is about 2 inches taller than I am, and this thing was easily like maybe 7 feet.
Wow.
And as I'm past it, I look in my mirror and I see it bolt to the left into the woods, and it looked like somebody took a normal human and stretched them out, starting with the limbs.
Wow.
Okay, so he goes on to explain how he floored it to the closest gas station to meet the police officers and how they all saw these pretty massive scratches on the top of his truck. And this part is just absolutely harrowing because, I mean, it proves that at the very least, this guy was not hallucinating and something really was up there.
And on top of the cab, clear as day, you can see like it was scratching, trying to get into my truck.
Really?
Another way to look at it is when it hit the back of the truck and landed in the bed, like it had latched onto the hood for a second and scraped, trying to balance itself.
Yeah.
And you could see that clear as day. I mean, there was a couple of scratches from like squirrels and tree branches, but those stuck out because it looked like it had landed like this and just ripped backwards.
All right, so obviously this whole thing is insane, but I want to back up for a second. If this is your first run-in with this phenomenon, let me just give you a little background on what it really is. People online call it the Rake. Most think it's just an internet creepypasta, but the truth is these stories go far back way earlier than Reddit or YouTube. In the year 1900, an ethnographer named James T. recorded Indigenous stories from British Columbia about gaunt, ghost-colored beings with protruding eyes who chased people. Not even kidding. That description could have been written easily about a modern crawler sighting. I mean, this is what people are saying they're seeing. But it's not just one culture. In Algonquian traditions, there are predatory spirits called manadoogs or man-catchers with grotesque long limbs that hunt not just your body, but your soul. In the Pacific Northwest, where I live, tribes speak of stick Indians, wiry, stretched-out figures known to mimic voices and lure travelers off paths. Even Appalachia has its white things. Overseas, we have the Arabian ghoul, the Buddhist hungry ghost, etc., etc. You get the point. Different names, different places, same theme. Something pale, gaunt, wiry, and tall that looks almost human, but isn't. Something that lures, mimics, and preys. So, when we hear a terrified man scream, "It's not human," into a 911 call, it's not an isolated event. It's the latest chapter in a story that people have been telling for centuries. The Rake as a brand may be internet born, but crawlers as a phenomenon are not. When you lay all these accounts side by side, from Reddit threads to Indigenous oral histories, it paints a chilling picture. And that's what makes this call so important to me. It's not just another viral scare story. It's a modern data point in a very old pattern, one that stretches far beyond just North Carolina where this happened, far beyond the name Rake, and far beyond the internet at all. If this is the first time you've heard a story like this and your mind is racing, you're not alone. I've spent hours and hours, like literally weeks, pulling together these encounters, and what you've just heard is only the tip of the iceberg. If you want to understand how deep this rabbit hole really goes, the history, the worldwide sightings, and insane true crawler encounter stories retold by me, go and binge my full crawler series right now. It's all there. The roadside encounters, the swamp creature photos, the ancient legends that predate the internet by centuries. I break it all down in insane detail and share all my favorite stories. Now, I want to hear from you. Squishy, now I want to hear from you. Have you ever experienced something like this yourself? I hope not. And even if you haven't, what do you think it is? Like, what do you think is going on here? Do you think the Civil War guy was related to the crawler? Like, my head is spinning. Let me know if you want me to cover more of these cases too, because I love this stuff, but like, I want to bring the people what they want. So if you like this kind of shit, like, tell me and I'll cover more. But regardless, this is just the beginning. The deeper you look, the stranger it gets. And if you like this episode, subscribe to my channel on YouTube and give me a thumbs up or leave a comment to make my day. You know, I'm a new creator and it means so much every single person who supports me. You can also find my free Patreon at patreon.com/chillseeker and follow us on social media at @chillseeker podcast on Instagram and @chillseekerpod on TikTok. And leave us a 5-star rating if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Stay tuned and I don't know, stay off the roads at night. Bye.